My name is Karson Lowery. This is Carly Baker, Egan Butler, Rick Fryer, Jasmine Nunez, and Lacey Seinberger. The United States population today comes out to around 347 million people, and 13.8% of that are immigrants. These immigrants make up a large portion of the workforce, and a lot of them work in important jobs like construction, and many of them are entrepreneurs, creating new things for our country every day. There's expected to be another 3.3% of Americans, or over 11 million, undocumented illegal immigrants working and living in the U.S. America is a pretty well-balanced country, and an overinflux of immigrants would throw off this balance in our country. Today, my purpose is to persuade you about why uncontrolled immigration is dangerous for our country. I think people should know what a large amount of people coming to the country would do. I'm credible to speak on this topic because not only have I done my research, but I've seen the repercussions in my life and the lives around me. Today I will cover how uncontrolled immigration could, one, it could increase the amount of drugs spread across the nation, and it could increase the violence which plagues our large cities. Two, it could increase the amount of gang-related activity, and influence on the country and its citizens. Three, many people could die trying to cross the border or from the effects of too many people trying to get across. Four, there are not enough officers to properly control a large additional number of people coming to the country. Now we'll move on to my main point of my speech, which is the main points of my speech. It could increase the amount of illegal drugs spread across our nation and the violence which plagues our large cities. The U.S. Border Customs seizes 40 to 80,000 pounds of illegal drugs every month, and that's only what's caught. There's much more that makes it into the hands of innocent Americans. All of these drugs often lead to overdoses, which ruin a lot of innocent lives in our country. This is one of the more pressing reasons for border protection. The drug business is big, but the weapons are even bigger. Over 200,000 weapons are smuggled across the border every year. These lead to unnecessary gun incidents from people who don't know proper gun safety or protocol. Guns also end up in the hands of gangs who use them to cause harm around the country. Now I'll move on to my second point. It increases the amount of gang-related activity and influence on the country and its citizens. Gangs play a large role in transporting drugs around our country, and they often harm many people around the country. They have a bad influence on the young, and they often make people grow up and go into more gangs. A lot of gangs already seep over into America from Mexico, and if the border was open, then even more would be allowed in. This would just cause more harm to the U.S. citizens. The Border Patrol always has people patrolling on the border 24/7. They have large cameras that have night vision, and they're 24/7 being monitored. Last year, they caught over 17,000 criminal aliens, and these criminals had anything from burglars to people with manslaughter charges. Controlling immigration would limit these people and other bad things that could happen coming across the border. Now we move on to my next point. Many people could die trying to cross the border or from the effects of trying to get across. The border is not a nice place, especially the Mexico-U.S. border. It has rough terrain and is very hot. I've personally seen it get up to 120 degrees, and there's almost nowhere you can find shade. It's covered in cacti and mesquite trees, which are very thorny and not unforgiving. Crossing in the actual crossings could be too many people, and it could bottleneck the flow of immigrants, and it could cause other problems. There's 300 to 900 deaths every year on the border, and many of these are women and children who paid a smuggler to get them across, and they were still dropped off in very hard places. They still pay $2,000 to $10,000 to get across, and if the border was open, it would just be easier to smuggle these people across and cause more harm to these people's lives. Now I'll move on to my last point. There are not enough officers to control a large additional amount of people. The Border Patrol needs lots of people constantly checking cars and pulling people over to check for immigrants. They have large holding facilities which require 24/7 people working there and monitoring them. They're always watching cameras and working other jobs. They help keep the borders safe all the time, and a large increase of immigrants can make it harder for them. They would take jobs, and they would increase crime and poverty in America, and we can't support that many more people here. There's just not enough agents, John Waldman says. Agency-wide, we recognize we need more people, and I certainly know I do not have the agents in the Tucson Center to deal with the flow we're dealing with now. Too much for Border Patrol, as you can see, and it'd be too much for the facilities which we have in our country and the law enforcement. To recap, I will restate my main points. 1, increase the amount of
Teachers, pardon the interruption. I just wanted to remind you that grades are due and need to be verified before
increase the
you
amount of
leave
gang-related
today.
activity and
Thank you
influence
very
on the
much.
country and its citizens. 3, many people could die trying to cross the border, or from the effects of too many people trying to cross the border. 4, there are not enough officers to properly control a large additional amount of people. Thank you.